Hey everyone, Austin from Coded Precision. We're back with another video. In the previous video, you guys heard me kind of talk about why I prefer a tripod over a bipod and how I make that work for me in the backcountry. Specifically in this video, I wanted to go over 3 different shooting positions and how I like to set up with a tripod in those shooting positions. So this first position, we're gonna go over a prone position here. I really like this position. It's very stable, and I think you'll see if you try this with a tripod versus a bipod, you're gonna see how much more stable it is versus a bipod. So the first thing I like to do when I'm setting up is you wanna get this front leg towards your target, okay? And then I like to put my gun in and line up the barrel with that front leg so that everything is facing my target, and I'm getting a nice, good recoil straight back onto the tripod where it's hitting these 2 legs that are at a good even angle there, okay? The second part of that is, in order to get a good height for this tripod setup, what I like to do is put the rear 2 legs all the way up, and on this front leg that's facing my target, I like to put that on the second setting down out of the 3 settings. And what that does is that gets you up off the ground just a little bit, gets you able to get a bag or a jacket under the rear of the gun right here. And it allows you to kind of have a better angle for your neck too, so you're not crunching your neck so much. So I'm gonna kind of show you how I like to set this up. Once I've got my tripod and my gun facing my target, I like to square up with the rifle and get it square with the center of my chest and come in straight behind the rifle. So I'm just gonna get square on my knees, come in like this, and I'm gonna get this right in here in between my shoulder and my neck and get nice and straight behind the gun. Now what this allows me to do is, since the tripod is holding most of the weight, I can kind of relax here and stay on target, and I'm using my left hand to grab the back of this chassis right here. This is my steering wheel for the gun. This is what's gonna allow me to move the gun. I'm keeping my trigger hand nice and relaxed and free. So the way I like to shoot these is keep this right here, put my thumb on the chassis, and I'm able to get a nice square angle on the trigger here. And so from this position, I can get very, very stable and use this to make a good shot. Now with my left hand, what I can do is hold the rifle with my right hand right here. I can come up and I can adjust the tension on this lever right here, kind of finding that sweet spot right in the middle where it holds the weight of the rifle, but also allows me to move the rifle to adjust for a shot. So that's how I like to shoot in the prone position. So the second position with a tripod is gonna be the sitting position, okay? This is the next stable position from being in a prone position. And then the least stable position you can be in is a standing position. But I'm gonna show you, I think this sitting position is honestly one of the ones I've used the most. And it gives you a lot of opportunity to get over tall grass, to get over brush, which depending on your hunting environment, you're gonna find yourself a lot of times in those situations where a prone position is gonna be really hard to get into. And so coming up, setting up the tripod, I look to put all 3 legs on the second notch, so the second out of 3, and that kind of spreads the legs out, gives you a nice wide stable stance. Again, when I'm setting up, I'm gonna set this up just like the prone position. I'm gonna put my front leg towards my target. I'm gonna put my rifle on. I'm gonna line my rifle up with that front leg towards my target, creating a good recoil impulse and a good recoil back on these 2 legs right here towards me. I'm again using this lever right here on my ball head to find that perfect tension kind of in the middle to where I can move the rifle. It'll hold the weight of it. If I let go, it'll hold the weight of it, but I also can get behind it and move the rifle a little bit and get comfortable in my shot so that I'm not creating any tension. So one thing you don't want to do is lock this head down all the way to where if you have to move the gun and you're creating tension in the shot. We're trying to avoid that. And so a couple things you can do to get stable in this position for a rear support right here. Again, we're gonna use this kind of a handle, built-in handle right here to hold this. And then you can bring in a trekking pole, something just to grab onto and get a hold of and push up against the back right here. And you can get into a very stable shooting position right here. And this really supports that back end. So I'm being supported on the front and the back. Or if you have the option, if you're hunting with a buddy or you have another tripod, you can bring a tripod leg in. I know you've seen some PRS guys do this, and this is also very stable. So you can get this tripod in. Again, you're grabbing that leg, you're grabbing the rifle. I can now hold the rifle and get in tight. And this is gonna allow me to be very stable and kind of have that rear rest from a sitting position. All right, so standing is going to be the third position. This is probably the least favorable position to make a long range hunting shot from. I wouldn't recommend trying to do this at 1,000 yards, but we've definitely killed elk and deer out to 500 and 600 from this position. We had to get up over some brush and make a shot. With some practice, you can get pretty stable, but I do recommend practicing this at home before you're out in the field trying to make that shot of a lifetime. So the setup's gonna be the same from the standing position. You're gonna put that front leg towards your target. You're gonna line your rifle up with that front leg towards your target. Again, creating that good recoil impulse. You're gonna slide your rifle in. You can find what's comfortable for you on the Arca rail. You want a distance where you can kind of reach out with your left hand if needed and adjust the tension on the tension knob here. Again, finding kind of that middle spot where it holds your gun, but it also, you can move it when you need to. So you're not creating any tension in that shot. And again, you need to approach your rifle from the same angle that you would approach it from when you're sitting or in a prone position. You're gonna try and line your shoulders up, get straight behind the rifle so you're putting that consistent shot pressure onto it. You're gonna come in, you're putting a little bit of forward pressure into your rifle here, kind of pulling it into your shoulder, not too hard. You can grab your leg underneath, kind of creating some tension there to hold everything solid, or you can come up here, hold it like this under the head. But the key thing is a comfortable position for you to get in behind the rifle, but also have access to the lever on the ball head, which creates the tension. And finding that sweet spot, which on this head is kind of right here in the middle to where it holds the rifle, but I can also move the rifle and take any tension out of that shot. And this will actually give you a lot of opportunity. Again, like I said, you can get out to 500-600 yards like this. We've killed multiple deer with kids shooting like this at 600 yards. So it can be done. It takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of coaching, and that's why we're making these videos to help you set this up and be successful.